For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise, and you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble. Thanks for tuning in at thescribbleshow.com and on SoundCloud and iTunes. Happy Friday if you're tuning in on this June 21st. And Friday is often a fun day. And I think we're also going to call this the Happy Show. I'm going to tell you why coming up in just a little bit. You know, I'm not one of those people who believes that, you know, if I wake up and I have a positive thought that my day will go really well and everything will be happy, but I got to tell you about some things that have been going on in my life, and it's kind of a good story. So am I a believer all of a sudden? I don't know, but I felt really good, and I'll tell you some stories as to why. And something else that makes me feel really good is celebrity guests, celebrity friends that we have on the radio shows and here on the podcast. Mary Murphy from So You Think You Can Dance had joined us a couple of days ago on the radio to talk about the latest season and the auditions. And, you know, it's however many seasons now, 15, 16, 17 seasons on Fox. And Mary's always one of my favorite guests because we have this long-standing tradition that when she calls in, I have her do the scream. If you watch the show, you know what I'm talking about. And so she did it again this time when we were on the radio, and so you'll have to hear about where she is, and you'll have to hear the scream. So that's coming up. All right, so we're going to call this one The Happy Show. I will explain why right after this.
Who are the Kardashians feuding with now? What did that little thug Justin Bieber do this time? Who's getting hitched? And who's headed for Splitsville? Hear the latest celebrity news and gossip every day on Entertainment Wrap-Up. The good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the ridiculously hilarious. It's all recapped in this daily segment at entertainmentwrapup.com. Have a laugh at the expense of the rich and famous when they take themselves way too seriously. It's 3 minutes of time-wasting fun at entertainmentwrapup.com. Check out Entertainment Wrap-Up at entertainmentwrapup.com. Brought to you by Speak Free Books.
Isn't it crazy that you wait for payday, but before you know it, you're strapped for cash again? It's time to stop blowing your money and become a smart spender with the book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com. Learn simple ways to cut costs at home every day and during special times of the year. Don't go broke at Christmas. Don't remortgage the house for a fancy vacation. The book is filled with tips to save you money throughout the year. Check out the best-selling book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com or on Amazon and iTunes.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on The Scribble. Okay, so I'm now... See, it was just, like 2 minutes ago I said that I'm not a believer in this whole thinking positive and being optimistic and great things will happen. Here's the deal. I was out walking the dogs the other weekend, and first off, I'm not a morning person. I think I've said that on the show here before. But I was out walking, and it was probably about 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, and the gardening crowd was outside. So these are the people who are like, you know, watering their grass, watering their flowers before the summer sun and the heat come out. And for some reason, they are just a very chatty group. And again, I'm not much of a talker first thing in the morning, but there was something just kind of nice. Oh, you know, oh, such nice dogs. Oh, you know, oh, how old are they? Oh, and I'm one of those people who, when I'm walking, I'm sort of attitude-y. Like, I'm kind of like, you know, I've got my music, I'm doing my thing, I'm walking, just stay out of our way. You mind your own business, I'm minding mine. But again, like on a Saturday morning, for some reason, I just kind of thought, all right. So I was actually stopping and chatting, and I know the dogs were actually getting pretty annoyed, but so I was like, yeah, you know, one is 11 years old, one's going to be turning 8, and, oh, you know, they do this, and, oh, this one plays this way, and they like doing this, and they have, all right, well, thanks so much, you know, you have a great day. And then I'd carry on. And then we'd go down another street, and sure enough, somebody else would start talking to us. And that was so not like me. And again, it's so bizarre to go and say that, yeah, I was friendly to people. Hey, I was nice to strangers. But, again, when you're walking your dog and you got your music on, you're just kind of in your own zone, right? It's just sort of, okay, here we go. And when I got home, and then there was another woman that I passed, and for some reason I was just in a good mood, and I said, hey, you know what, nice flowers. And again, that's just totally not like me to give a random compliment to somebody. And I don't know if that's necessarily something shocking about myself, or even just the way we are in society, or the way the way things sort of play out in neighborhoods. I know when I moved into my house 11 years ago, I was expecting that, oh, okay, I'm going to be, buddy with my neighbors, just like I was when we were growing up at my parents' house. We knew our neighbors' names. Well, we knew them as Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so. And, I was like, okay, that's going to be cool. I'm going to have such a nice relationship with my neighbors. I have never have I. And I'm trying to think. On one side of me, there's the original, that guy. So there's been 3 owners of the house to one side of me. And then 3 on the other side. And it was only until one of them was actually moving out. She got engaged to her fiance at the time. Now they're married. But she moved out when they got married. And so we only really kind of started to bond like in the last month or two. And again, we had lived beside each other for probably about, I would say at least 5 years. And it was always just kind of like the smile or nod or hi, and that was it. I didn't know her name. I didn't know anything about her. I knew that there were 2 women that lived there. I didn't know if they were sisters or what the deal was. But it wasn't until she was already going to be moving away that we kind of broke bread, and we had conversation, and, oh, hey, my name is this, and, oh, okay, so what do you do? And yeah, it was really strange. And so I've never, and since then, I've never had really a relationship with neighbors on either side of me. One of them, anyway, so this is the happy show. Remember, let's just focus on the happy. So, again, I compliment the woman's flowers, and then I keep going, and then I get home, and I'm not kidding you, it was only, and again, I'm going to say probably maybe 8 o'clock in the morning at this point. Most people still are not awake. But I just had a really good mood for the rest of the day. And again, it was just because it was friendly conversation, and then I was in a good mood, so I decided to pay people compliments. And it really did kind of give me this energy and this like, hey, you know what? It's going to be a good day. Things are good. Yeah, it was a good walk. And I mean, I've never done that since. But what I'm saying is that it was I don't know. It was nice. It was just not like me. So that's my suggestion to you is, you know what? Just say something nice to somebody, or just, whatever. How many times are you walking down the street? I know my mom comes to walk the dogs with me probably once every 2 weeks or so, and really we walk down the same streets every time, so very rarely do we ever venture into a new neighborhood. But you'll discover somebody's flower bed, right? Or you'll see the house that you think, wow, that's a really nice house. So you know what, if they're outside, say something. Hey, you know what, that's a really nice house. I like how you guys have your shrubs in the front, or I like those windows. Oh, I like that front door. Oh, I like your gate. I like your whatever. And just see how it goes. See if you can strike up a conversation with somebody and see if it changes your mood. Again, I'm just saying, I did it one morning. I haven't felt the need to, but I'm sure, I'm trying to think if I have. No, I haven't really gone for another early morning walk with them like that. So anyway, so that's one story. And then another story, as we're continuing on with the happy show. I'm going to continue on, or am I doing a break? All right. So we'll keep going. And then you also get to a point in life, or at least I have, where you just sort of feel like, I think it's just time to do something nice. It's time to just do good things. And so I, with one of my colleagues, had an idea. There's this book charity. We're not affiliated with it at this company, so I'm not going to name drop and say what it is, but I'll just give you the general overview of what happened, okay? They this big national company has a literacy program, and they're paired up with an organization that donates books to schools and things like that. And so I have been part of it for the past year and a half, where there's a bunch of us that go to a school every other Tuesday and we read to students. And these are students who are often they're falling behind in their grade level, and they just sort of need a little bit of extra assistance. They just kind of need somebody to read with them. And strangely, I thought this would be intimidating or scary for the kids. They actually appreciate it that a stranger is coming in and helping them read. And so, me being a best-selling author, cheap plug there, but me being an author, it was kind of like, well, all right, I guess I should go. And so there's about 8 or 9 of us that go. And at the end of the school year, we were invited to like a thank you kind of a tea where each of the classes in the school performs, some songs. First they sing, they play musical instruments. And at the end, the principal had come up and said, it would be really nice if your companies could consider making a donation to our library, and we have this program and blah, blah, blah. And so I said, yeah, we'll see what we can do. And so I connected with my colleague, and I said to her, like, you guys have donated before, right? And she said, yeah. I said, okay, well, let's do something like that. Like, let's make a contribution, and then let's reach out to this literacy organization and see if they will do a book donation. And when you know the right people, this is the thing. When you have connections and you know the right people, you can do the right things. And we ended up getting 1,200 books for this school. And there's only like 200 and some kids that go there. So basically, I think that the math broke down to five books for each kid at this school. And so the principal they were having an assembly, and it was for like 2 hours in the one afternoon. And so I had let the principal know. I said, well, we've got like a presentation. If we can maybe just have like 5 minutes of your time close to the end. And so he's expecting a check. He's expecting a big, fat, juicy check. And we kept it a secret from him that we were able to get a big pallet of books shipped across the country in about 2 days. And we surprised him and the staff and the students with 1,200 books. And it was just incredible because the librarian was all tears. She was crying. Oh my God, I can't believe this is so good. The kids were excited, and it was sort of like an Oprah moment, where it's like, you get a book, you get a book, you get a book. And it was really good. And again, remember, I don't care for kids. I've mentioned that a few times on the radio and then here on the podcast. But again, you just know that the principal's going to be thrilled. The teachers are going to be excited. The kids are going to have a good time. And you just do it because. And so this, ladies and gentlemen, is the 2 stories that I wanted to tell you that we are considering the Happy Show, where, a lot of times I do come across as a dick. I'm a sarcastic prick. If you watch my Bachelorette tweets on a Monday night, yeah, you're going to see that I just lay into her. I tear her to shreds. And I'm not a complete asshole all the time. I'm really not. And so I've just found over the last little while that, just seeing other people happy and seeing other people have a good time or bringing a smile to someone else's face is really what's important in life and really what matters. And I believe that, if you go through life doing, good things to people, you're going to feel good about it. I'm not saying I'm not going on a big karma preaching thing, right? Like, oh, well, good things will happen. What goes around comes around. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it makes you feel better. So after that day at the school, actually, sorry, there's another bit of a spin to this story here. You remember we went to Dreams Take Flight was in April. That's the Air Canada initiative where I go. I've been a media guest for 5 or 6 years. I go on the plane with the kids from my hometown of Winnipeg. We go down to Orlando to Disney World. We spend the day at Disney. I talk with all the kids. They go on all the rides, and then we come back home. And it ends up being about a 21-hour day or so. Well, coincidentally, a couple of the students at that school that I was just talking about were on the Dreams Take Flight trip. And so it actually sort of comes full circle because one of the kids, when we were waiting in the hall to do the big surprise at the assembly, one of the kids saw me from across the way and then came over and gave me a hug. And he's like, I remember you from Disney World. And so I was just kind of like, yeah, that's right. You remember me. That's great. And he said, do you know when we get the pictures? I guess for some reason his group of kids or somebody, they just didn't get they didn't get the pictures that were taken that day. And so I decided, I'm like, you know what? We have some that we took from Speak Free Media. So what I had done was I went and got a bunch of them printed, and I got I had bought a frame, a picture frame, when I was there, and I've never used it. It's just sort of sat in a box. I bought it a few years ago. And so I thought, you know what, he asked for these pictures, or he asked if there are pictures. I mean, you know, he's like 8 years old, 9 years old, so, you know, he doesn't know who to ask or what. And so I was just kind of like, you know what, I went and I got a picture for the frame, and then I ended up printing out a bunch of them and made a photo album, and then went to the school the next day and took him that as a gift. And then actually the principal had told me that he had a death in the family, and he was actually, that was his first day back, was the day that I had gone there for the book presentation. So of course I felt even more sad. And again, so, you know, you just go home and you're kind of like, that was a good day today. You know what? That just made me feel good. So here we are again. I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm not some happiness expert. I'm not, you know, anything like that. But I'm just telling you these instances of me walking the dogs and complimenting people and having nice conversation, and then giving back and doing something, you know, in the community and for the kids in the school. It really is, it just fills your heart. It makes you feel good. Wow, I'm getting too sappy. But let's take a break. Hey, when we come back, Mary Murphy from So You Think You Can Dance is talking with the latest season of the show.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
It's never too early to start thinking about your next holiday. Have you checked out Mexico recently? From tequila tasting, swimming with horses, to ziplining through the jungle and watching whales and dolphins in their natural habitat, Puerto Vallarta has it all. Visit mexico.jbonair.com to see all the fun PV has to offer. That's at mexico.jbonair.com for hundreds of photos, interviews, and videos from around the tourist hotspot. Check out mexico.jbonair.com for all the fun. That's mexico.jbonair.com.
The hot tamale train has left the station for another season. You know what that means. Mary Murphy is here to talk about So You Think You Can Dance. Hi, Mary.
Hi. Woohoo! The train is pulling back into the station.
Oh my God! All right, we've got to backtrack. I've got to tell everybody why you did that. So, in case you haven't heard Mary on the show before, we always start out the segment with a scream, and basically wherever she is, she just scares the hell out of everybody. And I think you were like in a restaurant in Australia before. You were in your hotel lobby or something. Where are you today?
I am actually in my office at my Dance Video Champion Ballroom Academy here in San Diego. Of course, I guess nobody thought it was unusual. Nobody came running at all.
Oh, I think you were in a parking lot one time too, and you just did it. Like, did people look at you? Like, what?
I know we woke some people up one morning.
Oh, that's right.
Really loud one, and yeah, you always get me into trouble.
Oh, I love it. You know what's also funny? I'm just going to give everybody kind of a behind-the-scenes glimpse of when we do these interviews, Mary. Often, it's kind of like a teleprompter. They'll put up a bunch of questions for me, and I'm like, it's Mary. I'm not even looking at your script, you guys. We're just talking, okay? So let's get into it now. You know, So You Think You Can Dance. It's back on Fox. What season is this now?
This is season 16.
Oh, my.
1-6.
Oh, wow. And, you know, I ask you all the time if people are upping their game every season. You know, they're stepping it up because you do see some repeat dancers coming back. If you could just sort of sum up overall this season, how did it go?
Well, of course, we do have some repeat. And, you know, that's one of the best things about the show is that the kids don't give up. And whatever we say to them, like they take it, they go back, they work even harder. And, of course, we've had major success stories like Twitch, who tried out 3 times in a row before he made it big. And that's what I love about this show. But we have so many. Of course, you know, we get so many kids, which certainly makes me feel old because I've been watching this show since 3 years old. And they've done everything in their power to make it on to So You Think You Can Dance. This was their dream. And that means a lot to us, too, that, you know, kids, I don't even know where you say at 3 o'clock, well, I'm going to be on So You Think You Can Dance. You know, I'm still playing with my Tonka trucks and little dolls.
Yeah.
I don't get it. But I get all these people, by the way, that they send me videos, you know, and of their child, you know, that is 2 years old, trying to mimic what is on the television screen. And I tell you, I just don't love anything more, I think, you know, than having like that special magical dance on So You Think You Can Dance, is to see a 2-year-old emulating Keon up there on the screen and one of the other dancers. It's like that. That's like the perfect dessert for me, isn't it? It's just, what's not to like about that? If anybody is having a down day, all they have to do is probably just YouTube children dancing.
Yeah.
I love the children in my own school, too. It just, you know, certainly brightens every single day that I walk in.
You know, and I don't want to take a serious turn on this all of a sudden, but, you know, it's shows like this that when you think about how they're killing the arts in school and things like that, you know, it's shows like this that are keeping dance and music alive.
Yeah, I couldn't be more grateful. I'm very proud to be a part of such a magnificent show and a game changer, really, in the art form of dance and dance sport. The fact that now it's just added to the Special Olympics and breakdancing was just added to the Summer Olympics. It's all coming, and it's just so great that there's so many more people dancing around the world. And the young dancers today, I feel, live in celebrated dance times, unlike, you know, a lot of the dancers that are my age. You'd have to explain yourself constantly to people. What do you do for a living? You know, and then you tell them, and then they say, now what else do you do? Nope, that's it. I teach dance, I dance, I perform. That's how I make my living. Now these young kids are met all over the world with just enthusiasm when someone says they're a dancer. Oh, yeah, you know what? I saw that Pasta Doble on this show. And people around the world actually know the names of the different dances. And I'm talking about all kinds of people. It would shock you. And it shocks me sometimes when somebody or an athlete walks up to me and says, I really love what you do on the show. I'm just like, sometimes I know who they are, especially if they're more football. But if they're, you know, that famous basketball player came up to me and said that, and I was like, everybody was like losing their brains around me, and I was like, what? Don't you know who that was? I said, well, who is it? He goes, it's Reggie Miller. I'm like, I don't know who Reggie Miller is. I'm not into basketball. Hate to say it. But the fact that, you know, it has like crossed the borders of all kinds of socioeconomic levels of people around the world. It wouldn't matter whether, you know, like when I was at Buckingham Palace and I got to meet the prince, and he shook my hand and said, yeah, I love the show. I mean, I feel like I'm Forrest Gump, to tell you the truth, that I'm in all these amazing pictures and amazing people, and I'm just like, I don't know what happened there. It's just the greatest thing ever.
And I mean, let's be honest, when you started the show when you were 10 years old, I mean, did you think that you would have...
God, I can't believe you know that. You're one of the few people who really know that and understand that. It's been crazy to give a 10-year-old this kind of show.
And, you know, speaking of dance around the world, I know there's a great hip-hop dancer. I'm automatically rooting for my fellow Canadian, Maria, I think it is, right?
Yes, Maria Babineau. And, you know, I find her particularly interesting, someone that is actually, she was a major in neuroscience. Just incredible that people come in and they've got these amazing degrees, but yet they're like, no, I want to be a dancer. I mean, I did the same thing, to be honest with you, and it didn't go over really big either after I graduated from college. And I said, I want to be a dancer. My dad didn't talk to me for 2 years, and we've had some contestants on the show that have had the exact same thing happen, and we've seen it already on the past episode where, you know, her parents were so upset with her, and we only have one life to live, and it's really hard sometimes for parents who also kind of make up what you're going to do in life before you even know what you want to do in life. And hopefully, they get over that hump, and it's once they see that you're so determined and so passionate about something, then most parents will realize that, hey, you know what? They're very lucky that they're passionate about something, because like I have two brothers that hated what they did for their whole life, and me and my older brother were so lucky that we actually just love it, and we're just addicted to it, and we just love every aspect of it, and we just fell for our job, hook, line, and sinker. And I said, if you're going to spend most of your life, half of your life, you're usually working. My God, I just hope people can find out what that is, and you're so lucky if you do.
And, then there's also the touching moment, brother, sister, and grandpa.
Yeah, how amazing is that, to see a brother and sister, number one, dancing together, but this time Grandpa's going to join them.
But really, again, it goes back to the whole there's no age limits when it comes to dancing.
There really isn't. I have kids in my school from 3 to probably 93. And it doesn't matter when you start. Everybody can enjoy dance. To enjoy dance doesn't mean that you have to be a professional dancer. And I think a family that dances together does stay together. That's just a fact.
The family moment is touching, but there's also a great display of someone not letting a disability or an impairment anyway get in their way of expressing themselves through dance. I'm talking about cystic fibrosis, and it really does, when you see somebody like that, it makes you stop and marvel at their determination, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And, that just people that come up with a disability, and you can only imagine the regular dancer has so many fears to fight through that type of fear to come up onto a stage like So You Think You Can Dance. I mean, it means so much, and she's so inspirational for doing so. That is another great part of the show that we reach so many people, and so many people come forward to audition to show that, they have no limitations, and that they are going to do with their life everything that they can. And I think we reach a lot of people. I mean, it certainly touches me, and it makes me more determined in my life.
Oh, I'm gonna pull a Mary and cry on my own show. We should wrap this up pretty soon. One thing that I always do ask you, if there's something that we should be watching out for. You don't have to name names, but is there maybe one performance that we should be on the lookout for?
For this next week, definitely, look for another great ballroom couple.
Okay. All right. And I could talk to you all day, but they're telling me to wrap it up.
I have to talk about this kid. I'm not going to say his name, but he is probably the smallest competitor that we have had on our show. And he is a sweetheart, and you will fall in love with him.
What does his name rhyme with?
Rhymes with Haley.
Okay.
Haley.
Oh my God! All right, So You Think You Can Dance? It's back on Fox. Mary, when can we catch the show?
You can catch the show at 9:00. I know Pacific time, and I'm not really sure on the East Coast.
Here's what we do: is we say check your local listings, right?
Okay. Well, everybody check your local listing, because I don't know.
Yeah, you'll find it. You'll find it. All right, Mary. Always great chatting with you. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up the Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter at The Scribble Show and at thescribbleshow.com.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on the Scribble, and we're out of time, but feel free to give me a shout anytime. It's always awesome hearing from you. The email address is live@jbonair.com, live@jbonair.com. That is the end of the happy show, the happy episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And again, if not that I'm giving words of wisdom or inspirational quotes and philosophical, just say something nice to somebody today and see if it makes you feel good, all right? My name is Jeremy Bradley. This is The Scribble. I will talk to you next time. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye, everybody.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a speak-free media presentation.
If you want some real heat